If we go back to the online learning, is it possible that the world will implement the online learning or distance learning in the near future? And would it ever be a better option for the coming generations to get education through distance learning rather than going to schools? Is it a better option?
So, I mean, this is a question that's coming out a lot, especially since we've had this big global experiment with COVID. And what we've learned so far is that there has been a lot of hardship and loss because of the total online learning. I don't know if you're aware, 2 days ago, UNICEF came up with a report about, looking globally at what's happening. And they write, and I quote, "The scale of education loss is nearly insurmountable since, the online learning with COVID-19.
Yes, 1.5 billion children around the world did not have the access to education because of Corona.
Yes, and not only that, so distance learning is causing all kinds of other supplementary problems. For instance, we see not only do children, and here we have to be specific, like children who are like university students, children, a K through 9, let's say.
Yes.
So we're seeing not only learning losses in terms of like cognitive skills, maths and reading, but we're seeing a lot of social, emotional, mental health issues because of the lack of community and routine and isolation.
Yes.
And another thing, your listener, negative impact on households, because especially mothers, they have too much
They were suffering
and pressure.
Yes.
Yes, to be the teachers, to be the caregivers, to run households, and professional women or women with work outside of the home also have to leave children or have to give up their work. So we're seeing economic costs, we're seeing psychosocial costs, we're seeing children with isolation, anxiety, depression. So to answer your question, no, I don't think distance learning is going to be a solution as a full solution. Some kind of
I'm asking you this question because we may read some articles that are talking about this, and maybe this is a good solution, or maybe this is the future system for learning, and moms are worried of these things. Mothers do not accept to go through this suffering again, and maybe this is a big fear for them. And maybe this takes me to another question for another style or system in learning, the hybrid learning system. People are talking about it as a good solution to challenges maybe like the big class size or the shortage in number of teachers. So is the hybrid education system a good alternative to the regular education in schools?
So I guess the hybrid system is an alternative. I think we all prefer something, we all prefer good classes with good resources, but we can't get that, especially now. So it's an alternative. It's much better than putting everything online and closing down schools and just having, online resources. So I do think there can be a way, and I think Egypt has been really a leader in this, in experimenting with the best ways to manage hybrid learning. So hybrid learning, the hybrid system is not ideal, but there can be creative, innovative ways to make it kind of more beneficial for families and for children. For example, one thing that happened during the pandemic was families would organize themselves in pods or groups. So you might have 5 households or 10 households that would be a pod. And all of the children would go to one of those households on the days that they didn't go to school because of this staggered or blended learning system. So that the burden is not just on sharing of that time that the children aren't in school. You have different mothers especially would take the responsibility for a number of children, and that would rotate. So there are these types of local solutions, but the solution is definitely not to the mothers, the professionals, and everything at once. It's too much.
Nothing is better than children going to schools and have face-to-face education with the teachers?
Of course, that's the ideal. We definitely want students in schools. It's good for them socially, intellectually, cognitively, in terms of citizenship building. That's better for the children. And our societies are organized to have children in school. We have not yet reorganized the societies, to not have schools.
Mm-hmm. Yes.